All right, it's top of the hour, and we're so excited to welcome you all to the Purposeful Prenup webinar. This is 30 minutes chocked full of information and excitement around the conversation of prenups. And I'm thrilled to be here with Torri Hawley, our Chief Learning Officer at Tamarind Learning, and Emily Bouchard, who has everything under the sun from advising and counseling families, blended families, couples, individuals on a whole range of topics. But today we're really leveraging her thought leadership and knowledge around prenup. So, really excited. And for all of you who've attended or registered for the call, we also want to give you something special for your time and treasure for being here. So, at the end, you'll learn more about a special promo that we're going to be offering to individuals and couples who sign up for this new prenup course. And again, just really excited to have you part of a new masterclass discussion around prenups, really taking a different angle that was very much motivated from the feedback we were getting from our clients, that this is a topic that is challenging. It is difficult to prepare for. It's easy sometimes to get to the table with legal counsel to draft it, but it's not easy to set it up right and to do it in a thoughtful manner. So, why purposeful prenups right now? And Emily, I'd love for you to tell us more about how you got involved and why you're so passionate about this area.
Yeah, thank you. I had such a great experience working with you all on this. And to know that there's a demand and there's a real interest in how do we approach prenups in a purposeful, intentional way is a question that's on a lot of people's minds, more so now than even, I think ever. There's so much research now in terms of where people are in different stages in their lives, people waiting longer to get married, so they have established lives already, people that have they're later in life and they might have families from prior relationships and they're coming together. And so it becomes much more complicated and complex. And then in the ultra high net worth community, which Tamarind serves so brilliantly, there's these complex situations in terms of shared ownership and how to make sure if prenups are part of the family's governance structure and part of that anybody who's being onboarded and coming into this family feels welcomed and not treated as an adversary. It's such an important part of this process. And I've been doing work with families with enterprises of all kinds, operating businesses, family offices, family foundations, for over 20 years. And I have a background as a marital and family therapist and master's of science of social work. So I come at this from a family systems, family dynamics perspective. I am not a legal professional, and this module about prenups is not giving legal advice. It's all about why it's important to do it and how to have the conversation go well. So that's basically what we want to start off the prenups course with. And then there'll be a follow-on course that Kirby will talk about later that's more of the technical side and the legal side. And I started to look into this as a really important topic when I was interviewing families all around the world. And I would interview the in-laws as well as the family members as part of a 2-year program that was being done in terms of succession planning and preparing the beneficiaries. And across the board, it didn't matter where I was, I would always hear nightmare stories about prenups and how the resentment and the hurt that was caused by that experience was still creating all kinds of discord and mischief within the family system. And I thought, wow, there's a lot that in the world that I can't touch, like I can't have an impact on, but this is something that's avoidable. Like this pain is not a given. You don't have to have that happen. And so that's why I started researching and I wrote a little book on beginner's guide to purposeful prenups to help get the conversation started because it's so big. So I want to create something small to get started and then to really empower couples in having successful conversations around this and strengthening their marriage.
That's amazing. Well, Emily, it has been a treasure to partner with you on this. And again, this topic is different because it's very much about a conversation about a relationship that you're fostering and you're wanting to set it off on the right footing. And so being able to have you model, share your wisdom and some of the videos that go along with this. I mean, Tori, let's just jump in, don't you think? Maybe we should
Let's
just show
go.
you
Yeah.
what this is going to be like because it is a departure from some of our other coursework. And I mean, I think safe to say Tori's the millennial on our call today, but the rise of prenups driven by the millennial generation, right, is astounding. It's really moving the needle. And we got to take note that having smart, informed conversations now is critical.
Yeah, well, I want to shout out to Emily. She came to us and she was like, we'd love to partner on this. We've been working on some other things. And Tamarind is pretty technical in our coursework. Sort of our instructional design approach is very sort of, you're going to be learning about a topic and at the end there's a quiz. So how can you now approach a topic that a lot of people focus on the technical and make it really about the relationships? And part of why Kirby and I were so excited to dig into this as well is because of our own prenup experience. I met my husband online, good old fashioned millennial way, and told him on our first date, hey, I kind of love you already, and you're going to have to sign a prenup. And just, I was only 21, but I just like came out swinging with that. I was just like, sorry, buddy, here's the reality of it. And I just think that this approach and some of the activities I'll share with you, I can only imagine what it's like to have that experience as a young person going through it, as opposed to my telling my 22-year-old fiance, hey, go and talk to an attorney and figure this out. And my stuff is my stuff because it's my family enterprise, and your stuff is yours. And I think he, in his prenup, claimed his Xbox One and the pot that he brought into our relationship dynamic. So just having a qualitative, loving, relationship focused approach, I'm really, really excited to share this.
Yeah, and I will say that working with Tamarind and Tori in particular, in terms of creating a multifaceted, layered way of learning was so important to us and making it really fun, accessible, and enjoyable. And I mean, I can't wait for you to show them, but we even created like a way that it's a date night aspect to how you're going approaching your marriage. And I think that that's one of the key things is how to have a couple look at this as a way to strengthen their relationship by being able to have really important conversations in a really effective, loving, respectful way. That's just going to make it so they're more likely to never have to use what a prenup says in it. So, yeah.
No, exactly right. And Rich, I see your question in the chat here. We'll come back to that at the end. We want to show you the course, get you excited, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. If you guys are going to use the Q&A, please throw that in the Q&A box rather than the chat, just in case it gets lost in there. We want to make sure we're addressing all of your questions, but we do have a number of slides to answer some questions for you guys as well. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to share my screen here. All right, so we're going to do this through the Tamarind Learning platform. You're going to see the course in real time. And this is the experience that the folks who are going through this course are going to have. So our approach and how we thought about this was for couples to be able to do this together. And each member of the couple is going to have their own login to the Tamarind Learning account. So you can see here we have Paula Prenup all set up and ready to go. But now it's going to have a lesson outline that is chock full of different like activities and structure. And something that's really different and unique about this course is we have individual reflections as well as structured built-in date nights. So this course is super, super experiential focused. So as you're going through this, just know that what you're going to see is intended to be taken together as a couple and experienced together. So we say this course takes about 3 to 5 hours, and we're going to recommend going over this in about 6 weeks, spending 30 minutes a week together on this process. So just like with the prenup advice, you're going to want to do this in advance of your prenup and lay a really excellent foundation. We don't want to feel that, that's stressful. We have to get this done. And this lays a really great groundwork for our second module, which is going to be more focused on the technical aspects. But as you can see, we talk about what are prenups really. We talk about understanding each other before the document, including how to talk about money, and using prenups as a relationship tool. And then finally, the prenup conversation. So you can see these are nice bite-sized lessons that can be taken every couple of days, or maybe once a week. You're going to check in and do this together.
I'll also just jump in, Tori, that sometimes if you're that, significant other not ready to have this conversation with your, partner or fiance, you can also take this on your own or even do it with your advisor. The thing I think we're stressing is that this is intended to be conversational. And a place for you to practice. So I definitely know I've worked with families who are saying you've got to do this as a sibling group, even, to your comment, Rich, about what do you do when it's required in the estate plan for a beneficiary. So again, this is also designed that if you want to take it by yourself, you can do that too. But there's a lot of prompts that would be helpful to have a conversation around. Sorry to jump in there, Tori.
No, that's perfect. And I think that's great to bring up because I can't imagine, being a young person getting married and going through this in secret, right? By the very nature of what you're doing, you're going to be talking about the experience with your partner, hopefully. So this is the very first lesson in the course, and we're talking about reframing the prenuptial agreement as something for relationships. So jumping right in with a little bit different from what you've probably seen if you've taken a different Tamarind learning course is right onto the gate. We have Emily Bouchard, focused and guiding the experience through these expert-led masterclass video style. So a little bit different here is you'll see little bite-sized segments that guide you through the activities and guide you through the lesson. If you're new to Tamarind Learning and you're seeing the text and you're like, there's no way I'm ever going to read all that text, don't worry. All of our pages are playable as an audio file, so feel free to pop in your earbud and get that experience. So starting right out here too, we start with a solo activity, and then the other side of this will be a couple activities that we call date nights here. So again, this course is built to be really experiential. And so we're going to prompt you to just think about, before you learn anything about a prenup, what do you feel about it? What is your experience? And then we invite you at the end to come back to that, and hopefully you feel a little bit different. So I'm going to kind of pop all around this course so you can get a different look and feel for what we're going to be offering, but I don't want to give absolutely everything away. But one of the things that's cool about this course too is we have a number of built-in sort of like quick little engaging games and then reflection activities at the end. Something that's really common in our Tamarind Learning coursework is we use something that we call deep dives. This course also features a lot of deep dives that are resources that come directly from Emily. So we're talking about values activities, we're talking about money messages worksheets, lots of different tools and resources. So here we have a deep dive for an article on prenups. They're not just for rich people, right? And one of the things that we try to approach in this course is financially diverse couples and how they can navigate this space as well. So
yeah, I think that's another good point too, that, well, of course, this is geared towards people that are have family offices or family businesses, and definitely more of that requirement of the prenup. We actually designed it with the idea of anyone who's getting married could benefit from this. And it's not designed to be very specifically about wealth in this module in particular, so that any couple that's engaged to be married can really strengthen their marriage as a result of doing something like this.
yeah, and I think even too, Emily, if you are dating, you're cohabitating, you're in a serious relationship, and you want to talk about money and your future together, this is a fantastic resource for that. So even if you're not quite down the road to, having a ring on your finger or proposing to your significant other, this can still be really cool, including this money stories activity. This is foundational, something that Emily brought in. Again, she's going to guide you through the experience, share her stories, and then we have this first date night. So we recommend, doing one of these date nights per week. There's 3 that are built into the coursework, as well as a number of solo activities that you can add in. And these are a structured experience to go through and then reflect with one another. This one uses sticky notes or index cards. So we built these in here to be really engaging and for you guys to grow together. And as you can see, we are not yet even talking about the technical nuts and bolts of a prenup or what has to go into your prenup. Instead, you're learning about each other, you're understanding each other, and you are building towards that document that is technical, but it still can be qualitative and loving and respectful.
Yeah, and one of the other things that we explored together as we were creating this was the foundational piece that this creates for a marriage, or living together, even if you decide you're not going to be married or whatever it might be, that you can refer back to years later in terms of, oh, wow, when we were first got together, these were the things that mattered most to us. These are the things that we talked about. This is what, why we said yes to each other. You know, like there's so many things you can capture about the essence of your future vision for your life together that then you have to look back on as well.
Yeah. Emily, I might put you on a spot a little bit about why we included talking about money and strategies for talking about money as a couple, right? This is a huge point of conflict and frustration. So tell me a little bit more about why we included this in here.
Yeah, well, there's a number of studies and research that's shown that issues and conflict around money are cited as the number one pain point in relationships. And financial infidelity has trumped sexual infidelity as the reason why people are saying they're not wanting to be together anymore. And it's a real thing. And the reason why is because people don't know how to talk about money.
Right.
It's like we do this kind of short term, oh, it's better not to say anything because I don't want to have a argument, or, you know, I agreed to do this, but I don't really feel like I should need to be. And it just erodes trust in the couple when it's found out. And it always gets found out. And the ability as a couple to talk about money and have it go well. Sometimes it hasn't been modeled for us. Sometimes it's something that we've reacted to because of how it's been handled. So to choose as a couple how you want to talk about money and be with each other around money based on your values and what matters to you is so important. And especially, you know, with financially diverse couples, there's also different approaches to money, right? Somebody might be a saver, somebody might be a spender. I worked with one couple. She was super like clear about money and very rigorous about it and knew how to save, knew how to be tracking everything. And he was totally comfortable with debt. He loved using debt to leverage different ideas, and he had no problem. And she, like, debt was like the worst thing in the world for her in terms of credit cards and that sort of thing. So they really needed to come to a meeting of the minds in terms of how they were going to be together as a couple around it.
And you can see immediately in that situation too, Emily, thinking about a prenup and how you can guard against those two things in your document ultimately. So again, we're still not explaining exactly what a prenup is and what goes into it, but we're preparing you to have those conversations here. One of the things I'll point out in here as well is we wanted to keep this really fresh and light. So we actually have a lot of pop culture references in here. We're talking about celebrities, Love is Blind season 8, if anyone is a fan of that Netflix show. I know that that's a guilty pleasure of mine. We have a lot of different references to movies and all these sorts of different things that make a complex topic really, really relatable. So we wanted to really work on destigmatizing what a prenup is and bring it into sort of the human experience and what people experience. So clicking into, this is my favorite date night activity that's in here. If I could go back in time and do this with my husband, I would in a heartbeat. Like when we were 21, 22, engaged, this is a really fantastic downloadable worksheet. It's also fillable. And so we have you go through this together. Like, what do you want your life to be 10 to 20 years from now? How do you think about, you know, what money means? What does it represent to you? And so that's speaking speaking to a lot of those ideas you were speaking to just now, Emily. So really wonderful structured activity. How do you want to be acknowledged for your contributions? And this again starts to feed into what should go into a prenup, and a really beautiful deep dive activity here as well. If you don't even know how to name and label what your values are as a young person, we did build in an activity for that as well. So you'll see this, and this comes directly from Emily. And then users can fill in their worksheet and they can upload it and have it all saved together. What's also really cool about this is imagine that you're going through this with your couple or as a couple or with an advisor. This is a Tamarind Learning Technology call out. Anywhere that there is text in our platform, you can highlight it and you can save it. You can take notes, but you can also save it and share it with your partner or with your advisor. So let's say you really, really wanted to do this with Paul, your partner. You could say, let's do this tonight. And just sort of give that little prompt to one another. Or if something speaks and jumps out to you, you can use our technology to really make this e-learning and self-directed experience beautiful and shared and foster togetherness.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because couples, when they get engaged, focus an inordinate amount of time on the wedding, right? This one day. And so much of their time and energy is spent focusing on that. And it can create quite a bit of stress, especially the money side of it at different times. And setting aside once a week a date night that's focused on the future you're building together, why you're getting married, what matters most to you, and having date nights like these goes a long way in terms of getting through that whole process of planning the wedding and launching into a life that's really in keeping with your values.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it brings something that's so can be kind of materialistic, wedding planning and all this, and make it sure you're really, really checking in with one another as you go through that process. So the second half of the course does start to be a bit more technical, including some expert videos from Lori Israel, Andrea Vaca, a number of other folks who have contributed to this course. Really great video on mediating prenups, and we talk about using prenups and engaging with an attorney, but also the opportunity to use a mediator. And then we call out Lori's books as well, The Marriage Friendly Prenup and The Generous Prenup as well. So we are so appreciative, Emily, of your relationships with these folks in the space that added a lot of value to the course as well. So you're getting lots of expert insights from a number of different individuals. Our final date night that we have structured in here is a really great podcast from one of the advisors who's gone through our facilitator training, Rochelle Khanna, and she talks all about how to specifically integrate assets into marriage, right? So this is a bit more forward thinking, but so you can watch this podcast together. It's about 30 minutes, and then reflect on the questions that we have here and just continue to grow and engage with one another. A bit more technical is available in here as well on timing and best practices. And then everyone who signs up for this course is also going to get a PDF download of Emily's book, The Beginner's Guide to Purposeful Prenups, to really seal all of that good work and knowledge in. And this was the inspiration for the course that we've brought to life through that sort of more, date night, solo activities, but everyone gets a copy of this as well. All right, we just have a few minutes left, so I'm going to pop over to Q&A if that works for you.
Yeah.
And I was answering some of the Q&A while you were speaking. So Stephanie Ellis asked, will we get the recording afterwards? Yes, you will. It will follow this webinar. Christine asked, can individuals take this module even if they're not fully clients of Tamarind Learning? Yes, you can. You can just sign up for this individually. And for being on the call today, I just wanted to share that we're doing a special promotion that you'll get $50 off the retail price of the course, which is $250. So it's $200 for you. And then if you sign up with a significant other, an advisor, a sibling, whoever, will even further discount it for that second person. So you'll get that same rate for both of you signing up. And this is great because, you're getting the full suite of Tamarind Learning's technology, reporting, notebook, discussion board, so much. And you have the ability to download and take with you, those exercises, those activities, and everything you jot down in your notebook. So this is really amazing. So that Prenups 50 is the coupon code that you'll enter if you decide to do it online. Um, or if you say, boy, I don't know if I'm ready to do this, I need Emily. Emily, why don't you talk about how you can also be a support mentor advocate for somebody who wants a little extra?
Oh, yeah, thanks. I just really want to acknowledge Tamarind because when we were talking about this, we did decide that we wanted to make it a really reasonable price point that anybody could access. And I'm so grateful that we're launching a masterclass that allows for that. And that makes it so that people can really get this valuable information in such a high technologically valuable way. And some people will hit snags. They'll have certain things that happen in their conversation where it's like, we just don't know how to navigate this, or we really need some help. And I wanted to include, as part of this, a relatively reasonable price point to get started and have an hour-long kind of triage session to see what they need, where the biggest pain points are, give them resources as needed, recommendations, and then if they feel like they need to have ongoing coaching, then we would create a project for them that would be based on what their needs are and the complexity. And I sometimes work with one person that's maybe having more trouble in terms of the communication piece, and then I'll work with them as a couple, work with them individually and together. It just depends on what they want to do. And then I work with the advisors to make sure that what the couple wants is understood, and that they feel really empowered in working with their advisors and their attorneys, so that we're looking at the we, like, it's not just how do we protect each person, because it does become adversarial, and how to structure it in a way where it doesn't have to be that way.
There's a bunch more questions, thanks, Emily, in the chat. And I just want to see if we can address them live here as well as Rich's. The first one was from Mark about how is this different from a well-created premarital course with a therapist? Well, that's a great question, but this is an education course. I would say if you're sitting down with a therapist, it's probably not too dissimilar to working with like an Emily, and doing it very one-on-one. I can tell you this will probably be a lot less expensive than being ushered through with a therapist, unless you're with an avatar AI therapist bot. I don't know. And I think the difference is also the number of resources that are embedded in this course. It's you're getting Emily as your MC and your showstopper, but then she brings in so many other wonderful thought leaders. The next question,
And
do you
wait,
recommend?
I wanted to say, Kirby,
Yeah.
that the other thing too is many therapists are phenomenal in terms of premarital work, but they not aren't necessarily trained in terms of the money piece.
Mm,
So if you're going to work with a therapist on premarital work, make sure that they really have a comfort level and an understanding of the money side of it. This is really honed on the focusing on the money, not,
yeah.
the kids or where you're going to live, or like all these different other things that come up
That's
in premarital.
so good. That's so good. The next question is, do you recommend this course for parents who are requiring prenups for their children? Well, that's a great idea. I mean, it can't hurt. And if anything, I would say if the parents want to take a look at this course and see if they want to, go through it, we're more than happy to give a short demo or even to share this video and they can make the call if they want to do it. Sometimes modeling it as parents can be very powerful.
And I'll say
Um,
Torri was amazing and created these wonderful avatars within it. And we actually have three different scenarios in terms of why the prenup might be happening. And one of them is coming from the grantor. So like that's something that we might be able to show them in terms of like what they'll be seeing in terms of what it could look like.
Even when their children are not near a committed relationship, that's another great question. Well, listen, I've worked with families when they have, later teens to early 20s, and there's no, you know, significant other on the horizon. And sometimes families just want to get ahead of this, saying, this is part of what's in our culture. To Rich's point about estate plans, it's not too uncommon for these to be part of someone's estate plan when they're passing on wealth. And so this can be a way to begin this conversation. You could have siblings go through this together and use it really instructionally. We only have one more minute left.
That's a
S-
big part because I want to say because of Rick's as well that with sibling groups doing it together, and if some people have already been married, you can use this for postnups, and you can also use it as a way to say, hey, what we went through, we don't want that to happen to anybody else. That's oftentimes a catalyst for why people do this. So yeah, it can be used for postnups, prenups, cohabitation. It's really about how do you talk about money effectively.
You can share this with other families. That was another question that just came in, so we have no problem with that. And I would say the post-nup conversation is a little bit different. I've gone through a post-nup, so I can speak from how that feels to monetize your marriage when you've been in it, maybe 1, 3, 5, in my case, like 7 years and have a child. So there's going to be some of that addressed in the second module that will be coming out, Rick. So keep your eyes out for that. But we really want this to be a useful tool to the industry. I know we're right at the top of the
They
hour.
want the timeline for the next module. Is it going to be towards the end of Q1? Is that, or where are we with the?
We're hoping that it's probably not that long away.
January.
January. So, if you sign up, you might even get to have an early preview of it. So, again, really want great feedback. Really appreciative of all the interest today. We had more than 50% of those who registered actually on the call today. We're super grateful for all the thought leadership out there and all the advisors asking these excellent questions. If we did not fully answer your question, I'm happy to have another follow-on call with anyone who needs more time. Um, and again, thank you to Emily Bouchard for her thought leadership. Thank you to Tori for her instructional design wizardry and wonderful insights to make it millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha friendly. And thank you to all of our advisor community for showing up today. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you in the Purposeful Prenups course.
Yeah, and don't forget, Prenups 50 is your coupon code. Go to tamarind.learning.com/prenups and get signed up. We're excited to have you in there.